The retainer gap is often created by small inconsistencies that you've trained yourself to ignore because you're focused on legal substance. Prospects are not evaluating legal substance, not at all. They're evaluating risk. So, a prospect, they're asking themselves, will this attorney take control of a stressful situation without causing me any more stress or any new stress? And there are a few friction points that create the retainer gap, even when your consults are strong. Let's dive into those for a moment here. So first, the consult scheduling and consult show rate issues are often a signal, not a problem. If your consult calendar is packed, but your show rate is soft, that is frequently because the pre-consult confirmation is informational instead of stabilizing. So a reminder that repeats date and times is not the same as a message that reduces uncertainty. When people no show, the instinct is to blame lead quality. And don't get me wrong, sometimes it is lead quality, but sometimes it's that the firm didn't earn the right to that hour by making the next step feel safe for the potential new client and the prospect. Second, the consult to client conversion problem is often a scope clarity problem disguised as a pricing problem. Lawyers, I know you hear things like, your fee is too high. And what a prospect means is, I don't know what I'm buying. I don't know how decisions are going to be made. And what happens if this goes sideways? Because if the consult is heavy on analysis and light on decision structure, the prospect leaves with information but not a path. And when that happens, that's just going to widen the retainer gap. The third thing that I see quite often is that conflict checks and handoffs can quietly poison trust. Because if a prospect has to repeat their story because intake notes are thin, you're just going to create doubt. And if a conflict check delay forces you to reschedule, you're going to create doubt. And when you as the attorney says, my assistant will send the retainer, and then it comes from a generic inbox with no context, you again create doubt. So these aren't like giant errors. They're just small signals that compound over time, and then they get bigger. So let me pause for a second. I want to let you know that I put a checklist in the description below. It's there to help you compare your consult to sign retainer flow against a few concrete markers like follow-up speed and retainer sent versus retainer signed. Make sure you check it out after watching the video. So let's get back to where I see most law firms make expensive decisions. It's when the sign retainer count drops, law firms tend to add activity. More leads, more spend, more networking, more content, more intake scripts. And what happens is that activity, it masks the problem for just a little bit. And if the retainer gap is the real issue, adding more volume is just going to increase the number of people who experience the same uncertainty points. You are just going to end up with more consults and the same number of signed retainers, plus a more exhausted team, including yourself.